Yes, yes, yes. It is a Castworthy podcast, and we are back after a week off. Episode 272. Join the corruption. I am Big Steve, aka Hello, my name is Steve, or Hello, my name's Steve on the Instagram machine. Joined by EJ, the Bourbon Ace, and the VP. It is Sunday, April 13th. It's a week before Easter. And it's not a whole lot going on outside of politics, couple sports things. So we got some stuff to get to today. But how you guys been? How was your 2 weeks? You guys have anything exciting happen?
Not
Oh
me.
yeah, man.
Not me. Been pretty chill.
Same old shit up in Washington. Well, Baltimore, I guess. Washington workplace.
hmm
Weather break up there. Y'all still dealing with 30s, 40s.
It's still cold. It's still up and down. It's about 40 right now.
That's wild. Damn
50.
groundhog wasn't lying, huh?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's trickling down here. It's not cold, but we had like a week of 90s. And it was right. And then now we kind of peaking out at top 70s again. Anytime there's a cold front up there, it comes down this way and but it feels good. Feels good. Get up in the mornings, cool out, open your lungs up. I mean,
hmm hmm
light work.
Not bad.
Light work. Anything fun happening on your side of town, VP? If you're actually there, we just see a coffee table and a piano.
Um, nah, man. Just chilling, trying to I don't know, trying to get some sleep, man. I have not been sleeping well for like a while now.
Mm. I told you, man, you need to start getting on that shit. Matter of fact, I got some. I know somebody that has some some edibles. If you wanna, you know, you know, you should talk to the doctor. It's medical now. You know what I mean? In Florida, that shit will
Nah,
calm you right on down.
I'm talking to my doc. They think it's a mental health thing, so I'm just seeing my mental health professional about anxiety and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
see where that goes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the climate that we're in. Tell them you want to try some eddies. Tell them give you a little scrippy action. You'll never go back. I don't think. A lot of people, that
Yeah.
shit'll just calm you down. There's different, strains. A little sativa, maybe make you forget
I
all
mean, for
about.
me, I get my care through the VA, and so the VA actually is not allowed to
Oh, because it's
prescribe.
federal.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I would want to try that anyway, but I mean, for folks who do and are in or who are situated like me, that's not even an option for them through the VA because it's still considered illegal,
Mm.
or at least it was. I think Biden decriminalized it. I'm not sure if Trump rescinded that or not.
I didn't hear anything about it. I did hear him rescind some tariffs though. Little
Mm,
bitch ass walked it back a little bit on him.
yeah, we'll see what
Uh,
happens there. I don't
yeah.
think that's gonna matter.
Yeah. Last game of the NBA season for each of the teams, I want to say, is being played today,
Yeah.
and the playing tournament starts on Monday. Let's see, where do we stand right now? I'm looking at the standings in the Eastern Conference. Barring any change, you got this is
I think they're
wild.
pretty much locked.
Yeah, you got the Bulls Heat playing.
Uh,
I can't believe we've gotten to a point where 10 teams 10 teams essentially make the fucking playoffs, yo. Y'all better never compare these modern day players to the old school joints as far as success stories. Dog, the Heat are 37-44, and they are potentially in the playoffs. The Bulls are 38-43. This is wild, absolutely wild. They're playing each other, and then the Magic, which is really weird because the Magic won the Southeast Conference or Southeast Division rather in the Eastern Conference, and they're still in the play-in. So they must have changed up how they do things, right? So it's not like the NFL where you win your division and you get a and you're in, right? In the
Yeah,
NBA.
the NBA has been like that for many years. It started. I can't remember the year it started, but it was back when Dirk still was playing. Is how long they've been doing it this way. Where there was a year where the Mavs finished with like they won like 50 something games, and they ended up being like the sixth seed or the fifth seed or something like that because another team had won there because the Mavs played in the same division as the Lakers or the Spurs or some shit like that. And so since they didn't win the division, they ended up being like the fifth seed and ended up going to a game 7 and got beat. And they were like, that's BS. They had to play a game 7 on the road. They won 50 games. They're playing against a team that won like 38 games or whatever, in the NBA
That was
championship.
when they lost to Baron Davis and Golden State, right? Is that had to be when
It
that
may
was?
have been. I don't remember the opponent. I just remember the situation.
Gotcha. Well, Magic Hawks are 7-8 for playing. Cavs 1 seed, of course, and then in the Western Conference, you got the Kings and Mavericks. Tell me again how that Mavericks trade benefited Dallas for the people that said that. Dallas is in 10th place. Kings are in 9th place. Timberwolves and Grizzlies 7-8 are playing in, and then the Thunder are in first place. Lakers, who made that trade and went and got Luca, are currently sitting in 3rd place. And they had an opportunity to move up to at least 2nd, but the Rockets kind of stayed hot. So, um, yeah, this all starts Monday. The play-in.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about these seedings? EJ, how you feel about your Knicks at 3?
I hope we beat Detroit. They're a young team. They're hot right now. They have one of the best defenses this half of the season. But I've said it 1,000 times. Even if we beat Detroit, we'll have to then face Cleveland or Boston, and that's if we beat Detroit. I have zero faith in Tom Thibodeau as a coach. One of the worst coaches in the NBA. He's going to get you all of these wins. He's going to do all these things. But, you know, time and time again, we have not beat the Cavs this year. We have not beat the Celtics this year.
Mhm.
And it's squarely not, it has nothing to do with talent. In both series, we've had the lead going into the third quarter. The Knicks have lost every game this season because of their third quarter performance. Tom Thibodeau does not know how to work lineups. Boston does this thing where they put Porzingis and the other 7-footer in, and they go on an 18-0 run. And this guy has Cat and Mitchell Robinson and doesn't play them at the same time. He does it for like 6 games straight. They go on a 5-0 run on the season, and then they come up against Boston, and that happens, and he just forgets how to coach. That Knicks team is never going to go anywhere when he's the coach. He's probably going to be moved to front office, which would be good for him. He's a good guy. The people love him. The organization loves him. But he doesn't know his X's and O's. He's outdated. He doesn't make adjustments. So I don't think the Knicks are going to go anywhere as long as Tom Thibodeau's a coach. I would love to be wrong, but that's just the reality.
I
Josh
mean,
Hart, go ahead.
I mean, we all know how I feel about the Knicks, right? But I think part of the problem with the Knicks is not just a Thibodeau thing. I think it's the players. I think that there's like this, this moxie that New Yorkers have, and it's like just because I'm from New York, it means that I do these things better, like and I think that when players come to that team, it's like they get that shit by association. Like, oh, I'm in New York. That means all of a sudden I'm good, and that's just not the case. Like I think New York is overrated, man. I think like, and I'm not talking about as a city now. I'm talking about the team. You know, people thought the Jets were going to be good because they got a 41-year-old washed guy coming off of 2 back-to-back watch seasons. And what did he do? He get injured. He comes back the next year and shows he's washed. Like, being in New York doesn't make you good. Being good makes you good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the media, I talk about this all the time in chat. I've said it sometimes on here, because the media is located in New York for the most part, New York, LA. They promote those teams more than anybody else, because typically the people who work at these organizations are from the city, and so they hype these teams up to be bigger than they are. Like, you know, I get the whole, you know, we've had this argument about New York being the mecca of basketball and all that kind of stuff like that or whatever. But like, at some point, you have to do something. The Knicks haven't won anything since the 70s. They haven't even been competitive in like decades, you know, except for the last, you know, the Jalen Brunson era, essentially, right? But we treat them as if, like, hey, the road to the championship in the East goes through New York. That's the kind of coverage they get, but that's not the kind of performance they give. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Knicks are like I mean, they're just like the Lakers, they're just like the Cowboys in the sense that it's a draw. Like, so the media is gonna cover it no matter where they are, because people want to hear about it, because those fans have loyal diehard fans. Like, the Cowboy fans are loyal diehard fans. The Lakers are loyal diehard fans. Um the Knicks fans generally are loyally and diehard. They're just very negative towards their team, or very vocal when things are not going their way. Very similar to Yankee fans, Mets fans, etc. Right? Um, a lot of these teams that are good today, the Thunder, they don't have a true historic fan base. Nuggets don't have a true historic fan base. The Rockets surely don't. The Celtics do, but it's a boring team to cover. Like, you're covering light skinned Jason Tatum, who, you know, is running around with an R&B singer, and, you know, he don't want no smoke with nobody. Then you got Jalen Brown, who wants to be a tough guy but doesn't know if he wants to be a tough guy. He's representative of the NBA, you know, in the players union. So it's like, they're just a boring ass team. So I think, essentially, and then there's the Cavs, right? And it's Cleveland. So Cleveland loses any steam unless LeBron is associated with them. So I think that's where the Knicks come in. Um, you know, unfortunately, they're put on this pedestal, like you said, with expectations, but I think they're starting to be tempered a little bit. Like, I heard Stephen A say this week, very similar to EJ, or maybe it was last week, um, that he thinks that it's possible. I think it was Stephen A. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe they were talking to Stephen A. But they said they feel like the Pistons can beat the Knicks, and they felt confident about it. That Cade Cunningham and the Pistons, who, let's not forget, at the beginning of the season, and I think this is why maybe EJ has some concern, and Knicks fans in general. The Pistons had the worst. They were on track for the worst record ever. You know, at the beginning of the season, they were something like 7-20 something, and now they're 44-37. So, you know, those guys have pulled it together, and you know, I think that is going to be a tough road.
Let's
Um,
let, let's get back to the reality of things, right? While the Knicks get a lot of coverage and there is a lot of media that loves when New York teams do well, we get just as much criticism, probably more. You know, Miami Heat, the only reason they're relevant at all is because LeBron James fixed the championship there. The Knicks haven't had that opportunity in 20 plus years. We haven't had mega
LeBron hasn't
stars.
played for the Heat in 12 years.
It doesn't matter. The reason you even had any rings, my point is the only reason you have
We had rings
any
before
rings,
LeBron.
the only reason you had any rings, what rings before LeBron?
D Wade.
2006, we beat the Dallas
Okay.
Mavericks.
You had D Wade and Shaquille O'Neal. The Knicks have not had that. We have not had any superstars on that level to play at the same time for our team. That's one. Number two, we're currently third in the East. So you could say we're not good or whatever. We're the third best team in the East. We have 50 wins. The
I think
only
they
two
are good.
teams, the only two teams we have not been able to beat at all is Boston and Cleveland, 1 and 2. So again, all of that, we're not good. I get it, but we're a top 3 team now.
Yeah, this
Back,
year.
yeah, and that's fine. And
Last year too.
last year too. So I don't know what you're talking about. But going back to
They
what
shouldn't have blew up that team from last year. They shouldn't have blown
I
it up that way.
I don't I mean Julius Randle was gonna be a problem and he's a liability, when it came to he didn't want to play down the stretch because he, wanted to take care of his shoulder and everything like that. And he cost a lot. And when it counts, Julius Randle kind of bails on you. Again,
I
I
like
don't
Cat
think
better
I don't think it's a
than Julius
talent.
Randle. I
Yeah,
just
me
think that
too.
DiVincenzo would have been. He was a fit
Dante
that you
Dante
guys
would have
needed.
been good. Dante would have been good. But I don't think it's a talent thing. When you look at this team, again, they played Boston the other day. Boston didn't rest anybody. Everybody played everybody. They were up 15 on these guys. And they blew the lead simply because Boston makes an adjustment. Thibodeau doesn't make an adjustment. It comes down to coaching. There's a reason why coaches matter. There's a reason why Spoelstra, with talent, can coach. There's a reason why Ime Udoka goes to Boston, gets fired, goes to Houston, and has them atop the West. There's a reason coaching matters.
Eric
With
Spoelstra
talent.
can't even tank right.
Love
Eric
love the
Spoelstra's
caveat.
like the Heat was
No,
like
it's the
they
truth.
started
I mean,
playing their backups
what
and
are they
they
doing
still
now
didn't.
with no talent? What have they done with no talent
I mean, they're in the
since
play-in.
then?
Yo, 37 and 44 to be a potential playoff team is absolutely asinine. The NBA has to fix that. Like this playoff thing or play-in thing, I get they want the extra ratings, from TV for those extra games, but this is bullshit. Like this is garbage. I don't want to see, and I'm not taking a dig at the Heat. I mean the Bulls also at 38-43. I mean the Hawks at 39 and 42. Even the Magic at 41 and 40. I don't know that I want to see them, but since they're trying to go 7 seeds in the playoff, or 8 seeds in the playoff, I don't see a problem with Magic Hawks, but that Bulls Heat or even the Kings and Mavs 39 and 42 each, they have no place to be, potentially going into the playoffs. Like that's just that's ass to me, yo. That's just ass to
And
me.
and just to kind of push back on EJ's point about Spo and the Heat or whatever. One, we're in the play-in. That's one. Two, we've had injuries this year or whatever. So I squarely recall on this podcast, like, we usually cut people some slack for injuries. I guess maybe just not the Heat. And then three, we had our star player who refused to play for weeks.
He didn't want to be there anymore.
No, it's
He
not
didn't
that
want
he
to be
didn't want
there
to be there.
anymore.
He wanted a fucking contract, and we weren't willing to give it to him. It's not that he didn't want it, because I'm pretty sure we'd have paid him. He would have loved to be there.
All right, that's Pat Riley's fault.
I don't think so.
We could talk about what it could be, what it ain't. Y'all at the bottom of the barrel. You gonna sit here and tell me the Knicks ain't good, but they've been top 3 for the last 2 years. Numbers don't lie.
You said for the last 3 years?
Last 2 years. I said last 2 seasons.
The last 3 years. Who was number one?
Not the Heat.
It was the Heat. They went to the NBA Finals representing the East, so they were the number one team in the East.
3 years, they've been the number 1 seed. What is he talking about? Last year wasn't the number 1 seed.
3 years ago,
they weren't the 1 seed, but they did win the East. They did win the East.
Yeah,
so that makes them number 1, right? Am I wrong?
Y'all went far being a play-in team at one point.
Did they go to the finals representing the East?
That's cool, but y'all wasn't good during this season.
So does that mean that they're the best team in the East?
And the same way you're talking about injury.
Steve, what's happening here?
The same way you're talking about injury, you just contradicted yourself. You just talked about the East. You just talked about how the Heat are suffering from injury.
Watch this, EJ.
Boston had injuries. New York had injuries.
Steve, who's the best team in the NFL last season?
Unfortunately, it's Philadelphia.
Vari, you're not Vari.
I rest my case.
If you want to overtalk people, we could do that all day. What I'm telling you is, right, during the entire season, your Heat team was not good. The rest of the East had injuries. The same way you're making bullshit excuses for your team now is exactly how they got to where they went to the finals.
EJ, you ever
Teams
heard
were
somebody?
injured.
You ever heard the saying? It ain't about how you start; it's how you finish.
That's what I just told you, Vari. I literally just said
Apparently,
that.
it's not what you're telling me.
I'm telling
They
you.
don't they just don't use that in bed.
I'm telling you right
Women don't
now.
like that.
I'm telling you right now, right? You're talking about what your team could be. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm telling you right now. Cool. You're talking about injuries and superstars and all of that. The Heat aren't good this year. They're at the bottom of the barrel. Cool.
And I don't dispute that.
All right. So what are we talking about?
I don't know what you're talking
3 years
about.
ago.
All I said
You're
is we
talking
had some
about three.
injuries and we had
You're
a player
talking
that
about
refused to play.
right.
You
and
making
you're
it seem
talking
like that
about
didn't happen.
and you guys went to the finals because there were players injured in the East. That's cool. We're
The
talking
Heat
about now. You're
the
saying the
Heat
Knicks aren't good. They're number 3 in the East, and the only 2 teams they haven't beat in the NBA are Cleveland and Boston. You don't even make sense.
the Heat don't have the talent. Let's just call it what it is right now. The Heat don't have the talent. Even if they had Jimmy Butler, they don't have the talent. I do like Cat on the Knicks better than Julius. I agree with you there. I feel like you guys lost your heart and soul. Like you don't have that killer like you had with DiVincenzo. And I mean, and I don't mean killer as in like he's your killing killer score, but we saw the heart that he has when this dude went toe to toe with the whole Pistons team because they fouled somebody on I forget
Timberwolves.
where on the Timberwolves on Minnesota. Um, so you guys are missing that fire, and that's major for New York. Like that's what generally carries New York sports, especially in the playoffs. Like you got all the names and stuff, and people like to see that in the Madison Square Garden home games. But having that guy, that person that's gonna cause some type of fire for the Knicks, I don't see who's there to do that, man. Like you just don't have it. You just don't have it right now.
Again, I'm telling you guys, these guys are talented. If you watch the games, they lose. They find ways to lose. You can't tell me when you're going into the second half of a game and you're up 12 that you should lose a game by 10 or more points. It doesn't make sense. It's a coaching problem. And it's always, if you look at the Knicks, just look at every box score, look at every game, just look at the past 3 games. They lose in the third quarter, and then they go back and they scrap and they try to fight back into the fourth. You got guys like Josh Hart statistically is doing things that nobody in the NBA has done in any time, right? But you still have a coaching problem. This guy for years only played 6 people, and he's just now trying to start to get other people acclimated into the lineup, but you can't do that. We've all seen how in the playoffs you got to be able to use your bench, and Thibodeau just doesn't evolve. He's not the coach. He's not going to win. He's been Chicago. He had a young Jimmy Butler. Minnesota had a young Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns, and he doesn't win. He can't win. He had Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, did nothing.
Derrick
Tom
Rose is
Thibodeau
injured all the
is a
time.
problem. That may
Except
be
for his
true, but
MVP season. His
he had
MVP
an
season,
MVP
he was
season.
fire.
His
MVP
MVP
season.
season, they played against the Heat with the big 3.
Yeah. Josh Hart.
And
Josh Hart said the only time he's seen Jalen Brunson play defense was when he was playing against Grady Dick. He just kept running around saying, "I want Dick. I'll take Dick."
Josh Hart is a wild boy. I'm telling you, Tom Thibodeau is not going to be the coach of the Knicks past this season.
I mean,
He's
at
not.
the end of the day, man, the Knicks, they're overrated, trash, ass. I got the Pistons in 5.
I don't know about that. I don't think the Pistons beat the Knicks in the first round.
You heard it here first.
Before we before we get started, or before we move on from here, what predictions, like we do every year, what predictions do you have for who's coming out of each conference, and who do you think wins it all?
I got Boston and LA.
I think I hate to agree with that, but I think I mean Cleveland looks nice, they're top seed, all that kind of stuff. But I think Boston is they're gonna win the East again, unfortunately. Especially, I mean, the way that they shoot the 3, when they're on, and they're usually on, they're jacking up 300 threes a night or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's hard to keep up, man. It's hard to keep up. So I
That's
think Boston
Celtics.
comes out. I think Boston
That's
comes out of the East, and the Lakers, like everybody who you think would be able to stop them, don't look good. Dallas, they don't look good. Uh, um, um, the Nuggets are in disarray. They just fired the coach and a GM a
That's
week before the playoffs
crazy to
start.
me. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, Phoenix are non-existent. Like it's. I think the Lakers go, and I think their only real challenge would be the Warriors, and I just don't think the Warriors have enough.
Warriors look good too. That's a dark horse. I think coming out of the East, that Celtics team is really, really deep. Pause. They're deep.
And
I'm gonna
Porzingis
go.
being healthy makes all the difference.
It does, man. That team is absolutely crazy.
We
I'm
know
gonna
the
go.
Heat ain't coming out though.
I'm gonna go Bucks on in the East
Oh,
as my
just
bold prediction.
we gotta let other people make it to the finals every now and then, EJ.
Yeah, I know you can't buy everybody to come to your team. Y'all never gonna win shit again.
Okay.
There's never gonna be
As long
another
as as long
LeBron
as
to
we have
come to
more than you
Miami.
guys, which we do,
It's
right?
cool. Yeah,
We
for
do,
now.
right?
For now.
Yeah. I mean, for always, not just now.
For now. You
I'm gonna
not.
take.
It's not. It might not stay that way forever.
It's been that way
Really?
for 10, 12 years. Yeah, really. Definitely
How
really.
many championships y'all got?
We have 3.
Okay. And how many New York Knicks have?
1.
You sure about that?
Yes. I'm not talking about the fucking Black History Month championships, dog. I'm talking about NBA championships.
We got 2. We got 1 in the 70s. Okay.
72. Was it
2
72?
championships, 70 and 73.
73.
Okay. That's still less than 2 last time I counted. I got to check the math
Still
on
less
that.
than 3, you mean?
Let me pull up a calculator.
You mean 3, less than 3? So we're
Yeah,
only
still
1
less
away
than
from
3.
you. And y'all are never gonna win another one. Ever.
I
Okay.
don't never want to hear a Knicks fan talk about the Cowboys not winning since the 90s. Now that we just had this conversation.
Exactly.
I don't talk about the Cowboys. I
Not
don't
you.
I don't know
Not
Knicks
you.
fans.
There's
But I
a
mean
lot of other Giants Knicks fans.
if you're a Giants fan, I mean you could talk shit about the Cowboys all day. If you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, but then we can have the conversation VP had. We got more. I got the Bucks coming out of the East, and
Mm.
that's a dark horse for me because I think, look, man, Dame time is unbeatable, just like anybody else in this team in this league. So if Dame gets going, and you got Giannis over there, all it takes is for Dame to get going, and I think the Bucks can be anyone in this in the East for sure. The Celtics again are probably the deepest team. I'm still not sold on the Cavs. You know who the Cavs are? The Cavs are the Spurs. Like they're the modern day Spurs. They got their 2 big men, they got 2 guards. They're just solid. They're absolutely
Hmm.
solid. They're fundamental and they get it done. But I don't think fundamentals gets it done this year. And in this NBA. But I do also think in the West, I've got it coming down to the Lakers and the Thunder. Only reason I don't pick the Warriors is because I do think the Lakers are going to beat the Warriors in the first round, and I don't even think it's going to be close. I think they might sweep the Warriors. Um, but that Thunder team is absolutely bananas, yo. They played the other night without Shea, and they blew out. Was it Minnesota? It was a good team, playoff team.
I don't know. Jimmy and Steph come playoff time could be scary. I mean, but that Lakers team, if they get in trouble and they have to use that bench, do
That's
you
where it's
think
yeah.
you
That's where it's
think
problem.
Hachimura is gonna carry them? I don't know.
No,
The thing you got to worry about with Jimmy is, let's keep it real. He gets hurt in the playoffs every year. That's why he doesn't. That's why he's not on the Heat no more. He wanted a
and he
contract, and Pat Riley said, "We need you to stay healthy." And
and
we'll see what happens.
and Jimmy thinks he can turn it on. Like we've seen that every year in the playoffs. He thinks when it's time I can just turn it on, and that doesn't work. But when you're alongside of Steph and you're alongside of Draymond, who's got really good defense, it's possible. But Draymond is a LeBron dick rider, and so that's going to be his downfall. Just like KD's downfall when OKC played the Heat. KD too busy trying to be LeBron's friend, and they end up losing to the Heat. And I think that was a winnable series for them for sure. Granted, the Heat had far more talent, but KD just wasn't showing up. Um, So we'll continue to watch that. We'll continue. But one thing I will say is I told you so to the people that said the Mavericks won that trade. It
Who
just
said Who was saying that?
No one on this podcast, but I saw a lot of people and a lot of talking heads too. I mean, Kendrick Perkins, a lot of them talking
Hmm.
about that. I mean, even Kyrie going down is not an excuse. That we knew that was part of the problem. We knew AD was going to get hurt, and that was the reason why people were saying the Mavs lost that trade. So it was going to be one or the other because they're both injured.
Hmm.
Shout out to my UConn women, took it home. Another championship. Paige got her. Paige Buckets got her. She about to. I think she's going into the league, and Caitlin better be careful, yo. That spotlight could get stolen quick.
Hmm.
I
Spotlight
think
could get.
it's better. It's good for the WNBA. The more superstars they have in there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I hope Juju gets healthy and comes back next year because she's gonna be the draw for everyone when it comes to her time to come in.
Hmm.
It's always a soft time for me. And I don't act like I notice people or act like other people do with celebrities. But Kobe and Gigi, man, like this was supposed to be her time. Like those that followed basketball, that followed, you know, Gigi in the basketball, we knew she would probably be great one day. She was ranked as for her time, as a young kid. This was her time. Would have been her class and her time to shine. She probably would have been one of them top players. And, just I always just wonder what it would have been for her, you know.
Yep. Yeah. Um. Gino though, man, where does Gino rank? I know we tend to. I think he's clearly the best women's college coach of all time, right? Like it's. I don't think there's any competition there. What's the woman's name in Tennessee that people used to like?
Pat
Pat
Summerall, rest
Summitt.
in peace.
Pat. Yeah.
Pat Summitt, I'm sorry. Pat Summerall's the NFL commentator.
I think I still think I think he's beaten her. But I think when we talk about coaches overall, like where does this guy fall? Like does success play a part in that greatness? Can we compare him cross sport? Or do you guys think that he has that place and that's just his wheelhouse?
I don't think you can take it cross sport, and the reason why I say that is just that women's college basketball is not at there's not as much parity as there is in on the men's side. If you were talking about like a Coach K or my guy um was it Kentucky, I can't think of his name right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Or
Who's now with isn't he with like
Talking about John Calipari.
Calipari, there you
He's with
go.
Arkansas right now.
Arkansas? There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, so I think there's more parity at the college men's level than there is at the women's. And so I don't know if you can say like, oh, this guy is one of the greatest. Like I think you can have a conversation. I mean, the dude has won, and the amount of championships that he's won, at least he deserves to have a conversation. But I don't think at the end of the day he wins the argument just because of the lack of parity in women's college basketball. But you can't deny the achievement nonetheless.
Gino is 71. I didn't even know he was 71 years old.
Damn, he looks good for his age.
He do look a little younger.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say because of the
Dog,
because
he
of the
got
lack
11 championships, yo.
I'm gonna say because of the lack of resources in women's basketball and the difficulty that it is to coach in general. When you're talking about recruitment, you're talking about academics, you're talking about UConn, like outside of basketball, and even at UConn, you're talking about the women's program has consistently been better than the men's, even though they've had those great years where they had Rip Hamilton, Ray Allen, those little pockets of guys, Charlie Villanueva days. You're talking about a program that has been good with little to no resources in women's college basketball for years. And, managing personalities and managing people, that's a tough thing to do, and I think even across sports, just to have that level of success has to be noted. Now, are you going to say he's top 5 in all coaching across all sports? Maybe not, because of the lack of parity, to VP's point, etc. But I think, you've got to mention him in you got to mention him up there with the GOATs in all sports and just coaching in general, because it's not easy to do. And I just saw Bill Belichick down there in North Carolina, man. And when you just talk about the idea of being a coach, that dude just knows football, and some people just are good at what they do. And I don't, I just think Gino, he's up there. He's up there.
Yeah, I'm in no way saying he doesn't deserve to be in the conversation, but like I guess I'm saying more of like, if you were trying to build a top 10 list, and like let's say you had 10, 12 people, like coaches from all sports that you like kind of had on the table, and you're trying to pick out who's going to be on this top 5 list. I think his name should be one of the cards on the table, but I don't know if he's in the top 5 just because of the lack of parity in uh um women's college basketball.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in top 5, but I'm saying if there's gonna be a list, we saying the same thing. He's got to be in consideration of an all-time, maybe at least top 10, 15 list. He's got
One
to.
day that needs to be done. Maybe a coaching list across sports. That's going to be hard. It's going to be tough because you got guys like Jim Calhoun who did great things at UConn as well. You got Coach K, to VP's point. You got Calipari, who had a short span at Kentucky, who was running shit. You got there's a lot of good coaches out there. And then you get into obviously baseball, with Joe
Joe
Torre,
Torre.
Yeah.
um, Ozzy. You got a bunch of really good coaches. So it's a conversation we might need to have one day. Maybe make it an even longer list than 10, 25, 50. That'll be a conversation. Um, but yeah, shout out to my Yukon women. Uh Paige Buckets. Hopefully, now they'll respect her. I mean, she came back from her injury, she got it done. So happy about that. Let me see. What else is going on? What else is going on? What else is going on? VP, your boy Obama finally decided to chime in a little bit with everything going on.
Yeah, Obama's gonna get on my nerves, man. Big time.
Um, I just wonder why so late. What took him so long to pop out? Maybe he was under the scrutiny still, or maybe he wasn't dealing well with the scrutiny of, shaking this guy's hand and being his friend at Jimmy Carter's
Yeah.
funeral.
I think Obama tries too hard to be like, like the senior statesman of the Democratic Party. Like, I mean, Bill Clinton kind of occupies that space, but like the Clintons, they have their haters who are locked in regardless of whatever, right? And so I think Obama tries to occupy that space, and it's like, let me kind of pick and choose my spots of when I'm going to come out and say something or whatever. I don't want to get in the way, or I don't want to steal the spotlight from some up and coming folks, whatever. But right now, I think we talked about this on the last pod. We were off last week, but the last pod we did, where we talked about how I was saying like there seems to be this battle between like some of the folks who think like the old way of politics versus like the new way with your AOCs and Jasmine Crockett's and stuff like that. And there's this battle happening internally of who should we follow? You know what I mean? And in that vacuum, you need somebody like an Obama, even though he represents, I would argue, the old wing of the party, to come out there and at least like say something, to do something, to galvanize people or whatever. And it's why you keep seeing these conversations of like, where are the Democrats? What are they doing? And even though they have no power in DC right now, they can't, they can't pass any bills. They can't send any subpoenas or force Trump to do anything, right? but they could at least make noise. And it's why Cory Booker did that filibuster for 25 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it got so much hype, is because it looked like somebody was at least doing something. You know what I'm saying? And that's been the problem with the Democrats so far in the Trump era, is that they haven't done anything. It's almost like they didn't think that he would get elected, and then he did. And then it's almost like they've been in disbelief for the last 5 months, as if like he wasn't going to become president. As if during the campaign didn't tell us what he was going to do. As if they didn't know Project 2025 existed, and these things are happening, and they're like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. And like it's like they're caught flat on their feet or whatever, and they got to get over that shit and start doing something.
Yeah, I would have like, where I would have liked to hear him was when the Republicans started to come along with that. We're gonna find a way to make Trump get a third term, right? Like, even though we know that it's a heavy lift, and now we've even heard Trump say, well, there are possibilities, or we're going to see if there's a way for that to happen, even though that we know again that it's highly unlikely. I still would have liked to
hang on a second. Let me just say something, because I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like we have to talk in, as small as our platform is, for anybody that listens to our voices, we need to speak a little bit clearly. There are no possibilities for Trump to get a third term. The 22nd Amendment is clear. The folks who drafted the 22nd Amendment, they saw Trump coming. It is not possible. There's no way that Trump can run for a third term unless we no longer have a democracy. There's no squinting your eyes and looking at the Constitution
so you're confident
sideways.
that we still have a democracy then? 4 years from now?
I'm not there. I'm not there. But what I'm saying is, when we talk about legally in these paths where, where it says but instead of and, or it says or instead of and you're trying to like read the text with a fine comb, there's nothing there. It's not possible. So and so we shouldn't give any credence to this potential third term, because it's not possible. Because the folks who drafted the 22nd Amendment back in the 40s, they saw Trump coming, and they have basically locked down every single legal path in order to for this not to be a thing.
Your point, though, is your point has legs if you feel like you have a guy who cares about democracy, or cares about the amendment, cares about the Constitution, right? We've said all along, we hope that there are people out there that respect the Constitution, and we're seeing that there are not. There still has been no consequences to this guy sending people to El Salvador, even though a judge said he couldn't. Like, these are things that we're seeing today, and we're what are we in April? So we're 4 months in of this guy's presidency? 3 months in? We're talking about another 3+ years of different things that can happen in different ways. And obviously the hope is that it gets bad enough to where people start to feel like, you know what? We need to vote people out, in the midterms and things like that. But if that doesn't happen, and we're in the same position 3.5 years from now, I'm not fully confident that this guy doesn't find some type of way to make it happen. Does it happen? Probably not. Hopefully not. But does he try to make it happen? Does he work with his people to try and figure a way around the rules? I think so. Just like he has everything else.
So Steve, there's no quarrel, right? We're saying the same thing. My point that I'm saying is, it's just simply like, let's not talk about this stuff like it's possible. Like back in the day when we thought, it was impossible for a human being to run a 4-minute mile, right? And then somebody did it. It's like, okay, I guess it can be done. It's not standard, but it can happen. There is no way legally for Donald Trump to run for a third term. Today. Even if JD Vance ran in 2028 and named Trump as his VP, and then JD Vance vacated the office by either resigning or death or whatever, Trump can't even be elevated to the presidency if he was vice president. It is not, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. The law is clear. The Constitution is clear. There's no gray areas. It's nothing there. The only way it happens if we move totally past democracy, constitutionality, legality, and it's something where it's just a complete power grab.
And I see that possible.
I think,
and I don't disagree with that point.
I think VP's points and commentary about the Democratic Party is what me and Steve has been saying for the longest time. Now we're in the shit. Biden hasn't said anything. Kamala's out here basically saying, I told you so. This should be the time where people are mobilizing and hitting local governments, trying to turn these states over, trying to tell people to say, look, this guy's going to fucking destroy anything or fabric of life you desire to have in the next up 10 years. And he's not good for this country. People should be on the move. Thankfully, we got people like AOC that's still doing things. You got Wes Moore here in Maryland, who a lot of people were hopeful to say he might throw his hat in for president. He said, I ain't doing it. I'm focused on Maryland. Cool. It's so bad right now to the point.
It's too early though. Everybody's going to say that.
But do we have to still stick to the traditional bullshit of doing things? It's too early. No, bro. If you want to run for presidency and you want to make some real change, shouldn't we now be talking? Shouldn't we now be getting behind this guy? Should we? Why are we still doing traditional things the way that we used to? And we're not in traditional times.
I agree with you. However, what I will say,
but this is nine. I'm tired of the old shit. I'm tired of it. We're not fighting the same war here. We have to get different tactics. The people are not energized. The people don't believe you. This is why people are apathetic and they don't show up, because they don't see motherfuckers doing shit when shit is hard. This is bullshit.
Right. I get what you're saying, EJ, but in terms of saying he's going to run for president, if he announces that he's running, even if he hasn't set up a campaign structure, legally that changes things for him. Even down to small stuff on how he travels. If he's going somewhere, is he traveling there as the governor of Maryland, or is he traveling there as a candidate?
I'm not asking him to say that I'm gonna outright do it. Don't tell us you're not gonna outright do it. Just say, look, say what you're saying. It's too early for me right now. Let me focus
like
on
the answer should be for people who are considered candidates.
Don't say I'm not gonna do it at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can agree with that part. Yeah, the answer is simply, hey, are you going to run for president? I'm focused on being the governor of Maryland right now.
If I'm this guy, I'm saying, yo, there's a lot going on in this country. People need change. We need to do something. And hey, I'm not going to say right now that I'm going to be president, but you never know. I see what this country needs. I have some feelings about this. I'm a veteran. I'm a Democrat. I'm a black man. What the fuck are we talking about?
I don't like to hear people. I don't like to hear the people saying, I want to focus on my local area first, right? And the only reason I like hearing it, but I don't like it today, because the way they're running it right now, they're running it like get down or lay down. Like that is how they're running it. Like think about what they said to the governor of Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, you gonna tell your people that trans athletes can't play, or you gonna lose funding, all federal funding? How about that?
He made Bowser get rid of Black Lives Matter shit in DC. So to your point, Steve, exactly what I'm saying. It's like, dog, you got to be like, yo, I get it, but this shit is bigger than me. It's bigger than Maryland. This shit is bad. And I'm exactly with you, Steve. I'm precisely with you. Precisely.
It's been a mess, man. I mean, the fact that we just saw the biggest bait and switch on the stock market ever from Trump. Like we even saw they even have records of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene taking advantage of the dip, and then him canceling the tariffs, and she made something like $300 million or something, like something crazy. It's I don't know, yo. We're living in a really corrupt time, and it's almost like you feel like it's time to join the corruption. Like I don't want to be a part of the good side anymore. Like why if I had just dumped 50K in when he said now's the best time to buy, you know what I mean? I don't have worries today. You know what I'm saying? If I took 50K, 20K, something, whatever I had, right, as a a struggling individual, right? Whatever you might have had, it could be as simple as 5K. Anything for that type of return is going to help someone who doesn't have it or isn't, in a position to continue taking losses.
Yeah, I mean the shit is just it's nasty work, man. It's nasty work. And the problem for me, and I hope that this is questions, or not even questions. I hope that this is a demand that folks on our side of the aisle makes for whoever our nominee is the next time around. And if that person were to win, we demand that these things happen where, typically when the new president gets in there, we saw this with Obama, and it's my firm opinion that this was a mistake, where Obama comes in and says we don't want to look backwards, we're going to look forward. And I'm like, why can't we do both? When you're president, you got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, right? Um, and so you had people talking about the Bush administration with all this corruption and the war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan and things like that, and nothing happened to anybody. You had the financial crisis of 2008, where these bankers essentially screwed people over with these predatory loans and things like that, and nothing happened. There for the 2008 financial crash, there literally was one arrest made, not 1%, one person, one arrest, and it was some mid-level guy at, I want to say it was Bank of America, if I'm not mistaken, some mid-level guy who changed something on some paperwork or something like that. The only person that got arrested for what happened in 2008 or whatever.
Right.
People had their 401ks wiped out, their savings, millions of people lost their jobs, their homes, etc. And nothing happened to anybody because we were too busy looking forward. And then all of the criminality that happened in the Trump administration, when Biden gets in, we focus on looking forward. While we did do some looking back, we waited so long to look back that nothing happened at the end of the day. And now, let's say you have a Democrat that wins in 28. If we do this, we're not going to look back bullshit or whatever. It's going to be the same thing. All this insider trading that happened over the last week or two during all this tariff fiasco with Trump or whatever, somebody's getting rich on the downside and when it went back up.
A lot of people.
Right. The corruption of Elon Musk in here, telling these agencies that regulate his companies like Tesla, like SpaceX, Starlink, and on, what they can and can't do, firing the people who work there, etc. How is this possible? You know what I'm saying? The corruption at the Supreme Court with the gift giving and them not recusing themselves for cases involving people that they're associated with, that they take gifts from and vacations from, and all these kind of things like this, the stock trading by members of Congress, etc. Whoever the next Democratic president, when they come in, if it's within the statute of limitations, they need to have an investigation opened up and to look into this stuff. And even if it's outside of the statute of limitations, they need to investigate it and at least put out a report to say this shit happened. You know what I'm saying? Even though we can't legally do anything about it now, it happened. And you need to know that the people who claim that they're in Congress, they're in the House, the Senate, governor, whatever their job was in our government, that they showed up to represent you when really they showed up to rob you blind.
Yep. I mean, it's blatantly obvious, right? Like now Trump is pulled back tariffs on smartphones and computers and electronics, right? Who's that going to benefit? It's going to benefit Apple. It's going to benefit Microsoft. So the other billionaires who, like you said, got rich off of this shit. There's no question that they, and I think also, I think maybe there might be a small piece of him that he doesn't want to go to war with these people financially. If you get into a war with Apple and Microsoft, it doesn't matter how much money Elon has. It doesn't, because those guys, if they really wanted to use their financial resources to derail something, they have it. They have the means to do so.
Trump's problem, I think, with these tariffs is China, right? Because here's the thing. During the Obama administration, we tried to pass the TPP. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was TPP was the Trans-Pacific Partnership, That was basically an international trade agreement that we made between us, Japan, Australia, bunch of countries over in the East to essentially isolate China or whatever. So that way we can weaken them to basically help them, essentially become a democracy and shit, make the people rise up because the country is so weak now or whatever. And Trump runs against this. TPP is bad. It was bad because the black guy did it and the white lady, they both were in it. So it's bad. It don't matter what it was trying to do. It's bad. We get rid of TPP and China starts ascending, right? We got the largest economy in the world. They got the second largest. Now it's still that case, but it was a point where it was like our economy was like 25 trillion and their economy was like 23. So we were like neck and neck. Now it's like almost a $10 trillion difference. We're like a $27 trillion economy at like 17. But here's the difference. When Trump puts tariffs on China, it may cause China some pain, right? And when China puts tariffs on us, it may cause us some pain and vice versa for the people of both countries. But Xi Jinping doesn't have to run in an election in 2025, 26, 27, 28, or ever. He's president for life. And none of the people who are governors and mayors and whatever position they have throughout the Chinese government, they don't run in elections. They just have the job. You know what I mean? And so it don't matter how much pain we make them feel. It's not like when the people start crying out saying, we don't like that the price of eggs are high. They're going to tell them, shut the fuck up. We're doing something strategic here. And if it takes 10 years to get it done, then you just keep shutting the fuck up for 10 years until we get it done.
And you know what I mean? Go back to where we were once.
Exactly. Whereas over here, the stock market starts failing. The donors are like, yo, what the fuck? I'm losing a bunch of money over here. And then you see Trump relent. Because even though he doesn't necessarily have to stand for the next election, these Republicans do. They see what happened in Wisconsin. They see what happened in Florida. And they're like, hey, dog, I got to run in 2026. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're getting a firsthand look for the first time of the reality of what politics is really about. To VP's latter point, to Steve's point, money talks. We've loved to believe for so long that these people actually care about the citizens of this country.
I don't.
I
don't think rich people care about poor folks.
Yeah,
I mean, they can genuflect and all that kind of stuff, and Black Lives Matter and DEI. All that. I don't believe that.
That's my point. We're finally seeing, in any way or means you want to say, it's happening, and it's happening right in front of us. They don't care about the average citizens. None of them do. None of them.
Yeah,
but I mean, we'll see. But after seeing what happened in Florida and Wisconsin 2 weeks ago, the election, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. That was very interesting. So
Wisconsin was a big one because this dude put a lot of money behind that. Like he tried to go in there and literally buy that that vote, and it didn't work out. So I think that is
margin
for them a feel of tides are turning, and I think for them they expected it, but maybe not this early. Like they probably expected in 26 they could get by for another year and a half doing this weird shit, and maybe they lose a couple seats or whatever in 26. But I think them seeing it this early puts them in a position where they're very, very they want to be more cautious.
I agree, and I think the Trump folks, especially Trump himself, overcalculated that when Trump says something, it just becomes like the truth in Republican circles. Up is down, down is up, green is purple, right? And Fox News and all the other right-wing, communications ecosystem, they all say the same. They all march in lockstep in the communications, right? But you can't tell people that prices are getting better, right? These people still go to the grocery store and say, man, not only are eggs not cheaper, they're actually more expensive than when Joe Biden was president. The fuck is going on, right? You can't tell people who are on Social Security. Social Security has never missed a payment in the history of the program. You're talking about like 90 years of Social Security checks. They've never missed a payment. Trump and all these geniuses with Elon and his crew of 19-year-olds get involved. All of a sudden, people missing checks. You can't tell them that, oh, no. Your Social Security's fine. I'm watching my 401k get cut in half. I'm watching my Social Security check not show up. The price of everything is going up. And then you're doing all these tariff things. And even if I don't know anything about tariffs, because obviously Republicans don't, right? Even if I don't know anything about tariffs, I'm at least watching the news. And it seems like the people who do understand this shit don't like it. Because when I watch the news, I see the talking heads saying this is bad. I see the stock market is down, 1,000 points, 2,000 points. I told a friend of the show who I work with about this, and I said, she was like, I don't understand why they put up there the Dow is down 1,500 points or whatever. Why they don't just say it's down, 2% or whatever? I was like, you understand that because you're an investor, the 2% thing. For all the rubes out there, they don't get that. When you see, the Dow's down 2%,
see a big number.
I was like, if you had $100 and you lost 2%, I mean, you lost $2. You're like, yeah. But when they put up there, the Dow is down 1,500 points. It makes people say, whoa, that seems like a lot. I don't know a lot about stocks, but for it to be down 1,500 seems like a lot, especially if when I typically watch the news, I see it float within like this 600-point range. It might be down 300, it might be up 300, and it kind of flows in between that 600 range, right? But now I'm seeing it's down 1,000, 1,500. At one day during this bullshit over the last 2 weeks, it was down 2,200 points. That makes people say the last time I saw that was during the COVID crash, was doing 08. That means something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it makes them pay attention. And it's how you get things like what happened in Florida and Wisconsin, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then you start to see, like I saw, I think you posted it. I think you might have posted it, or maybe EJ posted it. But we saw Fox News talk about it this week. They actually talked about the tariffs, and they told a story of how someone who owns a business was impacted by the tariffs and how their prices went up on the goods that they provide or that they sell. They tried to tell it in a way that sounded like they weren't being negative, but I think if you're watching and you just hear numbers, you hear it, it sounded that way. And so to your point, they don't know shit about it, but when they start to see it on these, these far right news stations and websites, they're trying to take some caution. Fox News came out and ranked presidents. They ranked Obama sixth. Fox News, who tells us Trump is the greatest and backs him and all this stuff, ranked Obama sixth of all time and Trump dead last of all time. That's telling, you know what I mean? And a lot of the MAGA, MAGA team, MAGA people are like up in arms and disowning Fox News and stuff like that. But like, the people that watch that channel or that station are going to start to see these things and maybe question. And that is probably the hope that we have, going into, the midterms and things like that, that maybe the right thing will happen in some places,
Right. And then think about this, right? Like this tariff policy is like all willy-nilly or whatever. What people seem to not understand is that the economy is global, right? Things aren't just made in one place. So you look at companies that make like EpiPens, for example, right? For people with allergies. The companies in the United States, the pharmaceutical companies that make EpiPens, they manufacture them here in the United States, right? But the little springs that help the pen fire to inject the medication, guess where those come from? China. So now your fucking EpiPens are going to be more expensive. And there are a million other products that you can say just like, oh yeah, they make this thing in the United States, but this part, this component, these screws, these switches, this piece, it comes from China. You know what I'm saying? And so people, they just don't understand how much more expensive shit in their life has got. And on top of that, we don't have the infrastructure to support these tariffs because at our ports, they don't have the customs officials to be able to inspect the thousands of ships that come in yearly to see where what came from, to figure out what the tariffs should be. Because they did this shit because Trump flies by the seat of his pants on everything versus having a real strategy.
Yeah. Shout out to my girl, Jasmine Crockett. She's getting heat right now again because she came out and she posted a picture on her Instagram with an interesting hat. Shout out to her. I love her for that even more. I already fucks with her for that. But um it's that double standard again. It's that double standard because Marjorie Taylor Greene walks around with the MAGA hat. She walked around with the what was their little saying for Joe? Let's go Brandon hat, t-shirts.
I do you one better, Steve. Marjorie Taylor Greene went on Instagram, and I want to say it was 2022, somewhere during the Biden presidency, and she went on Instagram and said Joe Biden is a piece of shit. No euphemisms or not to try to hide. I think Joe Biden is some sugar honey iced tea. It wasn't nothing like that. She straight up said Joe Biden's a piece of shit. Now Jasmine Crockett does this thing. It's a problem.
I need to know where to get that hat from. I
like the corduroy material too.
That's a nice
I like that corduroy material. I guess I'm just old school like that.
Yeah, I need to get one of those. I already got a shirt, but I need a hat to match. Like Biggie said. Shout out to Jasmine Crockett, man. I love her. I hope she keeps going. Applying pressure. Her, AOC, and Bernie, man. That's
poll came out this week. Shows AOC dominating Chuck Schumer in the Democratic primary for New York Senate, but his seat's not up until 28. So we'll see what happens.
Wow. All I'm saying is, Father Time, do your job.
Yeah,
like if we have to sacrifice LeBron James' greatness to Father Time, I'm willing to do that if it means that Father Time decides to show up in 2025 and handle some of that business, like Schumer, Trump. Like it's some people that come on, dog. It's time.
Yeah, they're like EJ said, they're missing the moment, man. They're missing Schumer. They're missing the moment. Like Gretchen Whitmer. You guys know I fucking love Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. She's in the Oval Office this week with Trump or whatever. Some shit he was doing for Michigan. I get why she was there, right? But you don't got to show up for shit like this. Send the lieutenant governor, right? That's what the president. They send the vice president to the funerals of when some foreign leader dies, or they all the shit the president when they send the vice president. You know what I mean? Send the lieutenant governor, send the attorney general, or some state senators or some shit or whatever. Because now you're in there Cowtown with Trump, and there's a picture of her. I don't know if you've seen it, where they're doing this press conference, and she's standing there holding a notebook in front of her face so she can't be seen at the press conference, yo.
Yeah.
And it looks so ridiculous. Like you spent all this time building up this cachet of you being a fighter, you fighting for Michigan, you being against Trump and all this kind of stuff they're doing to your state. People are seriously considering, people are saying Joe Biden should have picked you to be his VP. People are considering you to be a potential candidate in 24 if Biden didn't run. Once Biden dropped out, should we make it Gretchen Whitmer, blah, 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 blah. And then you throw all that shit away by, pulling an Obama, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. Gavin Newsom out there doing the same shit. Like, it's so stupid, yo.
I think he's made it that way. Like, he's made it to where these people have to conform. They have to conform. I sent you guys a video this morning of your boy Shaq. At the UFC last night. And he made it a point to shake Donald Trump's hand and give him like a little half hug and a head nod, and we know what that means in our terms, I have to assume, like, I get it. People are like, oh, he's still human. You're meeting somebody. He can be cordial. No, dog. If David Duke walked up to you and wanted to shake your hand, you gonna shake his hand? Like,
you know how you can be cordial? Remember, since we just lost him recently, Doc Holliday in Tombstone, when Wyatt introduced to the sheriff, he says, pardon me if I don't shake hands. You know,
Yeah.
that's cordial.
That's
You know
my
what I mean?
dog.
Like, come on, dog. Like, you don't got, like, I'm not saying if you're Shaq when Trump walked up, you had to punch him in the face. But, like, you don't got to sit there. Right. Like, you don't got to be doing that kind of shit, yo. You know, Shaq comes up. I mean, like, Trump see, oh, shit, it's Shaq. Let me come up, you know. But also, don't forget, I think Shaq and Trump are, I don't want to say that they're friends, but they're friendly. Shaq bought him a Rolls Royce when he got married to Melania back in 2004 or whenever the fuck that was.
Oh. Oh. See, that's why Hakeem Olajuwon is better than Shaq. All time. Fuck out of here. Shaq is
So,
off
you
my
know.
list, yo.
Rich people doing rich people shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Shaq benefited from it. Obviously, Shaq has a lot of businesses and stuff like that, right? But you know, outside of that, I'm sure he probably invested. Shit was low, and things came back. Things
I
bounced
mean,
back.
we had the former president and representative of the old guard of the Democratic Party kikiing with Donald Trump.
Right. That was a mistake, man. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, I get
This
it. Like,
shit
when they have
this
these
shit ain't
funerals,
real. We the
yeah,
only ones that are feeling this shit and that are concerned because we are the informed people and we see what's going on. But motherfuckers don't care. It's not real to them.
I think that's the best you could have said. It's not real for them. For them, they view everything like on this, you know, oh, these are just political battles. We get in the arena and they say this and we say this, and then the election happens, and then we kind of move forward and we try to go get them in the next 4 years or the next election, blah, blah, blah. But this is different. You know what I'm saying? This is different. These people are fundamentally trying to reshape this country. And these folks who are in leadership on our side of the aisle are acting like it's politics as usual. They're not taking this moment seriously, you know, and then the folks who are in charge are saying, no, they're gaslighting. No, you know, they're going too far. This is you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't make this comparison. You shouldn't, you know, and people need to see this thing for what it is. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is not a game. It's not a joke. These folks are literally trying. I mean, they're firing all of the government. Trump signed orders this week ordering the Department of Justice to investigate Chris Krebs, who ran CISA. CISA is this I forget exactly what it stands for, but it's like a it's like a cybersecurity part of the government or whatever. And when he came out after 2020 and was like, this was the most secure election we had, we detected no, you know, hacking, no, nothing like that. It was super secure, blah, blah, blah. He's ordered the Department of Justice to launch an investigation into that guy for saying that the election wasn't stolen in 2020. He ordered the Department of Justice this week also to launch an investigation into Miles Taylor, who was the Department of Homeland Security chief of staff during the first Trump administration, because Miles Taylor was writing op-eds as anonymous, basically saying, like, I work in the Trump administration. If you think the shit you see on TV is crazy, it's crazier. He's basically told the Department of Justice to investigate him for that. This shit is insane. The president's ordering investigations into people. You know, they sent this guy from I believe he's from Maryland. The dude who, there's a photo of Gretchen Whitmore. This looks clownish, yo.
Yo, Gretchen get it though. I just saw another picture of her.
This looks clownish. And you think about a politician like Gretchen Whitmore, right? You know what they call her in Michigan? They don't call her Gretchen Whitmore. They call her Big Gretch, because one of the local rappers like gravitated towards her and did this little song on YouTube. And like the people, I saw this video of her. She was going to do a public event, like a town hall type of thing at a grocery store. She's walking up, you know, governor don't got like a huge security team like a president does or something like that. You know, she walking up, got a little cachet of aides and security around her. And she passed by this black woman and she says, hello. And the woman says, hey, how you doing? And then the woman looks up and realizes the graduate. She's like, Big Gretch, oh my God. You know, and like that's how people react to her in Michigan or whatever. And then you blow that kind of stuff doing this bullshit with Trump in the Oval.
Yeah. She's not the one that they chased out or lined up outside her house, right?
No, she's the one who they had that plot that they were going to try to kidnap her. Those right wingers
That's
back
it.
in
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's her.
She get it.
Yeah, she bad.
Smash. What'd your boy say, EJ, on
Yeah.
Instagram? Smash.
Respectfully.
Smash.
Yeah.
Sports.
You know what, El? I'm about to put a list together of female
Triple double
politicians.
smash. He already did one.
Oh, did he for politicians?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just members of Congress though. It wasn't like governors and stuff like that.
I'm gonna put together a list and be like, yeah, I need you to knock this out, pause.
Soy
That
sauce
guy.
sports.
Yeah, that
Soy
dude is
sauce
funny,
sports.
man.
Shout out to
Triple
him.
double
Maybe
Soy sauce sports.
you seen the ones he's been doing for the WNBA teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, me crying.
Yeah. I think he rated Phoenix a little hard, but
Creative, yo.
Yeah, that guy is funny, man.
He took over.
Respect.
He took over he took over old boy's joint that was doing what was his name? Big 50 or whatever his name was, the one that was doing all right, here we go. Here we go. You know what I'm talking about? The dude that would always do the plays afterwards. Yeah.
nah,
You don't know? Come on, man. He'll be like, oh, there he goes. He pissed down his leg. That dude.
Oh, Coach 30.
Coach 30.
Yeah, Coach 30.
Yeah. He ain't done nothing in a minute.
Nah, I seen him do something like 2 weeks ago. But he's been off his game.
Yeah.
And this dude kind of took over.
Davis.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
What you guys been watching?
Man, for me, still watching Severance, getting caught up on it. I like the show, even though it's it's a drama. It's it's not. It does it's most people probably get bored from it, but I like it or whatever. So we're halfway through season 2 now. I watched The Pit on HBO.
Started that last night.
I like that show a lot because it's not like a typical medical drama, like a Grey's Anatomy with people having sex in broom closets and stuff like that or whatever. The whole show is just the drama comes from the medicine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing that drew me closer to it was I've seen a couple of like real life like ER doctors react to it, and they're saying like, man, this show is like very real. There's like some stuff that's off, like we wouldn't do it this way just because of they're like, but I understand why they're doing it just because they need everything to happen in the ER because that's where they work at. Whereas in real life, we would have sent this person off to neuro, or we'd have sent them off to this place and be done with it. They'd be in ICU by now or whatever, But they were saying for the most part, this show is like very accurate. Oh, and yeah, it's good, man. I finished it already, so I enjoyed that season. And the main guy played on the show ER back when ER was on TV in the 90s. Noah.
The black lady
Wiley.
was too. Black lady.
I didn't know
Passport.
that. Okay.
Yeah, we was watching last night. Nikki's always been into these types of shows because she was, medical field and all of that, and she's close to it still. So she's, she liked it, and she was saying the same thing that these guys. She's like, nah, they wouldn't do that. There's no way they would do that right there. Like, remember when the leg was all messed up in the first episode?
Right.
And they just start moving it around. She was like, nah, they would have definitely went to surgery for that. But
exactly. That's the point that some of the doctors that I watched laid out. They were like, this person, they'd have got it stable and sent them to surgery. This person wouldn't be waiting like that or whatever, Now,
but
I can't tell you.
Dramatize it for TV.
Exactly. Now, EJ may not like it because the black chick from the show who plays Dr. Heather Collins, she's British. You know how EJ feels about that. So, but
on the first episode, you get to see a titty.
Yeah,
I like that.
But yeah, I like the show, man. I like it. And the chick who plays the doctor who moves kind of weird with the glasses, the white chick.
Oh, I like her,
Mel. That's Bryan Cranston's daughter.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I like her, and I've only seen the first episode last night.
Yeah.
So, but she quirky as hell, yo.
Mm-hmm. I like.
And like I thought it was super funny when she was like, "Is there any I laugh at weird shit, I don't laugh at traditional jokes, but when she was like, anybody contact the family? And then she turns around and everybody's out of the room.
Yeah, I laughed at that too.
Yeah,
I laughed at
she's
that too. Yeah, I liked her doing the show, and I like how they got into some of the they got into like some of the controversies that we see, like the COVID thing makes an appearance in the middle of the season, where there's going to be an injury because you have some people arguing about masks and a fight happens and stuff. And I won't tell you what goes down because I want you to not laugh at when it happens, but that kind of bumps his head up, and you hear them calling people Dr. Google, and they're like, "I fucking Dr. Google in here," or whatever. Like I'm asking them to do, so.
EJ, what was the show from USA that you liked with the brothers, the dudes that used to rob? You know which one I'm talking about, right?
I can see it in my head and I can't think of it.
Oh,
It was an
well,
Australian. It was an Australian show at first. I know exactly what you're talking about.
well, one of them is in that. One of them is
Okay.
in it. It's the brother who damn, not one of the original ones. It was the one with the
Okay.
curly hair. The curly hair brother who was I guess he smashed the other one's girl.
A crazy one.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
the nurse, Steve, the nurse from the pit, with
No,
the curly hair.
the dude that was about to jump right at the beginning.
Oh, okay, the Doc Abbott.
Yeah, Dr. Abbott. Yeah. I'm gonna find him right now and tell you what show it was. What else? You been watching anything else?
I
Excuse me.
watched we watched G20, the Amazon Prime joint with Viola Davis
Oh my
as
god!
president.
How was that?
It was okay.
Animal Kingdom. EJ.
Animal Kingdom. I couldn't think of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, like, for a person like me who follows politics, it was so unbelievable just because like the Secret Service doesn't move like that. Like for what sets up the what happens in the movie, Secret Service doesn't move like that at all. So it was just totally like unbelievable. But in it, it's one of those things where it's like Viola Davis is like a badass in the movie because like she's president. Like obviously you can tell they made this movie thinking Kamala was going to be president or whatever. And so that's why we got the black woman president, which I'm fine with it or whatever. But in it, she's like a former military member who had did like some crazy like heroic shit or whatever. And that's kind of like her claim to fame and how she rode that all the way to the presidency and shit. And so, after the shit goes down, she's like out there, kicking ass or whatever. And it's like, it's this, 60-something-year-old woman like kicking the shit out of these mercenaries or whatever, and it's like, come on, dog. Like,
I couldn't believe Amazon did that shit. I couldn't believe they did it. Like those movies, number one, it's like we saw the White House down, we saw Olympus is falling. We've seen this shit like 1,000 times already. And them shits was digestible for the times that they came out. But it's like, come on, bro, like stop. I just like I saw that shit come up, and I remember when I saw the previews, I was just like, "Come on, man, this gotta stop this shit."
Yeah, but it was okay. It like I don't feel like I wasted my time, but like if it was if I had went and paid money to see it like at the movie theater, I probably would have been like, "The fuck," But like I watched it at the crib, it was sorry. You know what I mean? But they got Anthony Anderson in it. He plays her husband, the first gentleman. And then she has 2 kids, and then like she's having a beef with the daughter, and then they end up reconciling, all this kind of stuff. But it's
It's on
it's
Netflix.
No, it's an Amazon joint.
Amazon, okay.
Yeah, and then like the ending, it just there was a point where they could have ended it, and they decided we gotta go 15 more minutes, and in that 15 more minutes is like, yo, like. Look, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief, but like you guys are fucking pushing it here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, god damn, yo.
Come on.
Like I know like there's not a guy in tights flying around shooting laser beams out of his eyes, but like you guys are pushing it now. You know what I'm saying? Like shit.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I've watched on Netflix. I don't think we talked about it last time. The show Adolescent. That
I
was
got that on the
decent.
list. I haven't started it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were talking about that.
Oh, we did.
We
Okay.
we were saying that EJ or not
Yeah.
EJ that Vari needs to start it.
Hmm.
So you finished it, EJ?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't particularly feel
I didn't like the
satisfied
ending.
with everything. The ending, yeah, I didn't feel satisfied about it. But then I also been watching Good American Family on Hulu. It's
I gotta
about
watch that, yo. The little
yeah,
midget. I gotta watch it.
yeah. The journalist chick that VP used to bring up, the one that's she's a little person and she's got that condition where she doesn't get older. She's Gretchen, I think is her name actually.
Benjamin Button,
She's playing the little girl. She's like
Imogen
27 years
Faith
old.
Reed.
There you go.
Oh, I did want to say I got that on my list. You talking about it has what's her
Good
face from
American
Grey's
Family.
Anatomy in
Yep.
it.
Yep. Good
Ellen
American Family.
Pompeo.
Ellen Pompey.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's been it kind of the last episode. It's been a decent series. I'll say that. And yeah, I don't
Oh, that's
know.
a series? I thought that was a movie.
Nah, it's a series. They have a documentary about I think what it was loosely based off of on Hulu
Okay.
as well. But yeah, it's been a series and it's got me. I've been watching it. um and what else was there? I watched my normal Chicago PD and shit like that and SWAT. There was something else that I wanted to say I watched. I can't remember what it is now. Damn it. But Good American Family's been on. Oh, it was a good show that I actually like. I binge watched it and now I'm like actually current with it. The Rookie on Hulu.
Mm.
I
With
like that show.
Angela Bassett, right?
No, that's 911.
Oh,
The Rookie is the Rookie is pretty much a virtually most of that cast is like new faces. The only guy that's like a vet actor is the dude that was in Why Did I Get Married? The bald head dude that was like Jill Scott's husband. Can't remember his name.
oh yeah, I know you're talking about the one who played Mike.
Yeah, Mike from
Richard Jones.
Richard Jones. He was in The
Yeah,
Wood, but he's really the most
loved him in The
known
Wood.
actor. Yeah,
Hey
he's
yo.
the most known actor of that show. But all of the other people are fairly new people. Um, but yeah, that's a good show. It's been running for a good while now. It's pretty
You
good.
like shows like that. I like shows like that too, but you really like shows like that.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's why you
binge
like them
watched it.
Chicago's. So you will like the pit. The pit to me feels like you could almost build it into the Chicago's where you have the
Hmm.
pit, and then if they were to build VP, and keep me honest, you saw more of it. I only saw the first episode, but I feel like they could build out an ambulance side of it to where they have like on one episode or one show would be the ambulance side, the other show would be the ER side,
Oh
and they
yeah.
just kind of coincide the two of them. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. And again,
So
Oh,
you
like I said,
I forgot I was watching also. Been watching Raising Canaan for Steve.
for the pit, the thing I really liked about it, man, was just the fact that all of the other stuff that you see in hospital shows with the romance and all the stuff that happens outside of the hospital, they take that away. So I don't know if you know this, Steve, with the pit, the way that the show is set up, the show is
gonna say the
15
same thing I
episodes.
was about to say.
Oh,
It's
like
one day.
yeah, it's 50. So the whole season is one shift.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is they supposed to work a 12-hour shift, but something happens in, I want to say, episode 10 or 11, and they end up having to work over because like something is happening or whatever,
Yeah.
and so they end up doing a 15-hour shift. But the whole season takes place over one shift or whatever. And so that's why the title of every episode, like when you say you watch episode 1, the title of episode 1 is hour 1. And so each episode will just be hour 2, hour 3 or whatever, until they get to the end.
Yeah,
And
I
even,
was just
even when they
about to
try to
say that.
bring in the romance, they acknowledge it and then just kind of like dead it. You know what I'm saying? There's one doctor, like one of the senior doctors, you can tell like she's feeling one of the new people, and you see like some looks, some smiles or whatever, but like that's as far as it goes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And another doctor you'll see like tries to come on to a nurse, and the nurse is like, hey, I don't date people I work with. You know what I mean? And then so they just kind of acknowledge that these things like office romances can happen, and just kind of dead those shits.
They probably built him in there for like storylines in case it didn't work. Just doing hour by hour. Like, let's say they decided to do a season 2, and now they can't do hour by hour, or they got to build something into season 2 or 3 or however long it goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They could do some callbacks.
Yeah.
But
Steve, you need to watch Raising Canaan, man. Gotta watch it. It's fire.
I did. I started it again.
You gotta finish it. Gotta catch up.
I told you my problem with that is every time I start it, I remember the episode, and I'm like, I already remember what happens here. And then I go to the next episode, and I'm like, I remember this one. And I go to the next one, I'm like, I remember this. Then I go to the next one, and I'm like, damn, I don't remember how we got here. And then I just stop.
It's been good. The writing on that show is pretty damn good. Pretty
Yeah.
damn good.
I'm gonna check it out.
Also, Righteous Gemstones. Been watching that, and then Last of Us starts back up tonight.
Righteous Gemstones fucking funny.
Yeah, I love anything with Danny McBride, but I love that Righteous Gemstones a trip. Are you caught up, EJ? Or you like recently started watching it?
I haven't watched any of it. I always like watch some random clip of it. It's fucking hilarious. But we all haven't been watching. We haven't watched White Lotus.
I watched White Lotus.
EJ watched or Vari watched it. I didn't watch it
yet. I haven't watched it yet.
This season was disappointing.
I didn't even catch up to last season.
Yeah, they missed the ball on this one, man. I was not feeling it at all. Like, it's the season, it starts slow, and you get that vibe. Like, okay, maybe they're building up towards something, because they do like White Lotus every season. Start with a dead body, you know what I mean? And so you're trying to figure out how we got here, and it's like a slow. The season is only 8 episodes, right? So it's like in an 8-episode season, you can't go on the slow burn for more than like 2 episodes. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you're pushing it going more than 2 episodes slow burn. I mean, this is the exact point Steve was making during House of the Dragon. Like, you're doing a slow burn and you're only giving me 8 episodes, and this is exactly what they did in this show. But not only the slow burn is not just 2 episodes, it's slow like the first 6 episodes. You don't really start getting into stuff until like episode 7, the penultimate, and then the finale. And I'm like, yo, what the hell, man? And then the finale, the most happens in the finale, and it still feels underwhelming just because of how slow the whole season was. You know what I mean?
I think that's why I like these reality shows that I've been watching a lot lately, because shit moves quick and I don't got to worry about plot building. Like, I just watched Million Dollar Secret on Netflix, which I really like. You guys should probably check that out. It's very similar to Trader, but or The Trust. I think we talked about The Trust a while back. It's similar to that, where basically I think they start with like 12 people, maybe it's a little more. And let's say you wake up, you got the $1 million, you got to make all 11 of us believe that you don't have it. And then at the end, they got to vote off. At the end of the episode, they vote off who they think has it, and they're either going to vote off the millionaire or they're going to vote off a wrong person. And it's the same thing. Trader is just the same way on Peacock, except Traders is with that's why I asked if you watch it. All the characters are either Survivor, they're Survivor,
Amazing Race.
Not Amazing Race, The Bachelor, Housewives. I know you don't really watch those, but there's a lot of Survivor people on there. So like that dude, Big Rob or Rob somebody. You probably know him if you hear his name, but I guess from Survivor, he's like
Boston Rob,
yeah. He's on this season, this most recent season, and this most recent season was pretty good. Wes is on there from the challenge, so Traders was good. I watched that this last season. I can't wait for the new season of that. $1 Million
Boston
Secret.
Rob has been milking reality TV, yo.
He's still on there.
He came on Survivor. He was great on his original season. He didn't win. Then he went on Survivor All Stars, and that's where he met Amber. and him and Amber hit it off. That's how they started dating from Survivor. They met on Survivor All Stars. She won All Stars because they were going to vote her out. He convinced them. Boston Rob could talk people into anything, fucking, sell ice cubes in hell kind of shit. He convinced them to vote him off to save her, and then she eventually goes on to win. They start dating after the show. They get married, have kids. Because the Survivor fans are so interested in them, CBS does a documentary around their relationship and actually pays them to broadcast their wedding on CBS or whatever. So they do that. Yeah. So they do that. Then they do another season of Survivor where this season was called like new versus old or some shit like that. So they bring him back. He ends up winning that season. So she done won a season of Survivor. He done won a season of Survivor. Got CBS to pay them to broadcast their wedding or whatever. And now he's doing other shit. Like it's like, they eating off reality TV, yo.
Yeah. There was another girl on there from Survivor. I forget her name. And another dude, Tony Vlachos.
Oh, Tony. I remember he's a cop, a New York cop he won Survivor too.
Oh wow.
Yep. And then there was another girl. What was her name? Carolyn Wigger.
I don't remember her.
And then a couple, Wigger, and a couple people from Big Brother, Danielle Reyes, Brittany Haynes. Yeah, that's why I asked if you. Yeah, that's why I asked if you watch it, because I know those shows that you watch, there's a lot of them on there. But Traders I really really like a lot, and I started also. Let me see. I started The Residents. I think that's another one that you would like. VP, you watched Orange Is the New Black, right?
Yeah.
So you remember? Why can't I remember her name?
Oh, Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes. Yeah.
I started that show. I tried episode 1. I didn't stick with it.
It's a little it's a little comedic, but it's
murder mystery.
It's a murder mystery, but
I like those.
She's a little comedic in there. I like it. I liked it. I only watched like the first two episodes, and then my other show is back, Love on the Spectrum. I'll be watching that. That's my shit. They be bugging on that show, yo. They be cracking me up, yo.
Yeah, you should check out the one on Netflix, Steve. It's not a murder mystery. It's more of a robbery mystery. With Ted Danson on Netflix, where I think it's called Inside Man.
Is it a movie or show?
No, it's a show. It's like 8 episodes or whatever. He basically he's a widowed old guy, and he's looking for something to do because his daughter's like telling him you got to get out more or whatever, and so he sees an ad in the paper. Okay, yeah, I like that. I thought it was funny.
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah, I did see that one. And he was yeah. They were British,
infiltrates
right?
a senior citizen senior community or whatever.
No, this is a different Inside Man then.
No.
I'm thinking of the Inside Man. I think we also talked about it. It was a British show. 4 episodes.
Is it called Inside Man? Let me look.
It's definitely not this one. But Inside Man on there, y'all would like.
Yeah,
you're talking about Man on the Inside.
I saw that.
Man, there you go. Man on the Inside.
Yeah. I have not watched that. I know.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny. So
it was something else that I was watching that I forget about. I finished it, so it's not showing up in my list. Got to go to my watch again list or something like that on Netflix. But yeah, man, Traders, $1 Million Secret. I'm gonna go watch the Pop the Balloon. I heard it was kind of corny though, that they put on Netflix.
I'm not a fan of that show. I'm not a fan of the concept.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm not a fan of the show either.
Yeah, and then Love on the Spectrum. That's my other joint that I've been watching. They're quirky, man. They be making me laugh, yo. I think that's it. I think that's all I've been watching. Yeah. That's it. Becoming a Spectacle is one that you probably want to check out, EJ. It's on Peacock. I saw the previews for it yesterday, but I didn't start it. It's an hour and 50 minutes, and it's about the WrestleMania 9, the first one that was outside in Vegas. with Hulk Hogan and them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I know that's
Before
gonna
we
be
do,
nostalgic for us.
before we do go, or descend or whatever, NFL draft is this month,
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? The 20 is it 24th?
24th. Yes, Thursday the 24th.
11 days.
Very interesting.
You think so? I saw today that the Titans canceled their private workout with Shador.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean to you guys?
The betting odds are that the Titans are going to take Cam.
Yeah, they want, if they're gonna take quarterback, it's gonna be Cam.
And I'm starting to see
Better
a
be.
lot of talk around Shador actually falling out of the top 10.
Well, I don't think Cleveland takes him because they just signed Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the
And like
Giants signed two black
we
quarterbacks.
we talked about on this pod, some weeks ago, what I mean, they still got Deshaun Watson for a lot of money. They can't offload that,
Yeah.
so they gotta kind of suffer a little bit at the quarterback
Mm-hmm.
position,
And the
so
thing
it is what it
is,
is.
when you look at the draft, if Shador is not drafted by
Pick
the
six.
Giants, well, I don't even think 6. I mean, I guess he could go 6 to the Raiders, but if he's not drafted there
Well,
at
the Raiders just
6,
traded for Gino, right?
that's why I said it's probably not going to happen. That's why I said the Giants at 3, because if Tennessee takes Cam, the Browns, we just talked about them. The Giants, we'll see what happens. The Patriots, they got their guy, they believe already. Jags got Trevor Lawrence. The Raiders just got Geno. The Knicks just got Justin. I'm not talking the Knicks. The Jets just got Justin Fields. Carolina believes they have their guy. The Saints got Derek Carr over there.
Stop right there.
Bears.
Stop
Now
right
that
there.
now that
Stop right
that's
there.
where he could go.
That's what I was just about to
That's where he
say.
could go. Because
The
Derek
Because
Carr
Saints.
has a pending career-ending injury right now.
yeah, at least they said it's an injury that could put this season in jeopardy. Shoulder injury, which
Okay.
And for
sho-
him at this age, it's it. That's it.
yeah, shoulder injury for a cornerback is different than a shoulder injury for a quarterback. Especially I think it's in his throwing shoulder. So that's
Mhm.
where I was gonna say VP. I know I heard people saying falling out of the top 10 also, but I
Yeah.
can see the Saints making that pulling that. If he drops to 9, if I'm the Saints, I probably take him at 9.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that pick if I'm the Saints. You look, you're in New Orleans. You
If I
got
was the Saints, I would consider trading up to get him. If he doesn't go at 6 to the Raiders, I would consider trading up just
you
to make
think
sure somebody else don't try to come get him.
you think that well, I don't know about the Jets. I think the Jets are set. Well, I don't know. The Jets didn't sign Fields, right? They didn't sign him to anything long term.
It's 2-year, $30 million deal.
Oh, so they could take a Shador and
Who,
if
the
the Justin
Jets?
yeah,
But
and
I
if
don't
the
think they
Justin
do, just because you if you do that, you're screwing up. You're in Justin Fields' head again.
Yeah, that
You know.
makes no sense. You don't
Yeah.
sign Fields. You would have went and got a Jameis or somebody. You
Right.
know,
well,
If they had
that's what the Giants did, right? The Giants went and
right.
got Jameis and Russ, and they're both old aging guys. So you could take a Shador still, and you got 3 options now at this
Mm-hmm.
point. You got 2 veterans and Shador, and if Shador does show those flashes, then maybe you give it a shot. If not, like we always say, or EJ mostly says, stop putting these quarterbacks in the microwave. You can say, look, this first year, you're going to sit behind these guys and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn from a guy who can move just like you, and you're going to learn from a guy who can throw, deep balls and balls, and he's just inaccurate at times, throws interceptions, you know, also like you. And next year could be your year. We put you in a
Yeah.
position to win. We'll go out and get another wide receiver to put alongside
neighbors.
neighbors and so on, right? Like build up the line a little bit better.
I like him in New York. I just don't know if New York does it because like y'all said, they went out and got Russ and James, So
Yeah.
that's tough. But You know, I didn't know about the Derek Carr injury, so yeah, I guess I could see that. But if he goes past there, when you look at teams 10 through
20,
10 through 20, nobody needs a quarterback until you get to 21 with the Steelers.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. At 21, the Steelers, and then after that, nobody needs a quarterback on the rest of the list. So if he don't go at 21 to the Steelers, he could fall out of the first round. You know, so really, I think it's the Saints in the
Seattle.
Steelers, really.
Seattle could take him at 18. Remember, they just traded away Geno.
But didn't they get somebody?
Yeah, they picked up
what's his name? Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
Exactly.
They gave him.
So if I'm Seattle, we've seen this before. We saw this with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson and the other dude, Matt Flynn, was it? Not Matt. No, was it Matt Castle? Who did Russell Wilson steal the starting job from?
I think it was Matt Castle.
No.
Or was it the dude on TV? The one
No, they had signed somebody that year, and it just turned out that Russell Wilson was good. They signed the person to a big contract. Damn. Why can't? And I'm trying to find it.
Maybe Matt Castle.
We'll see.
I think Pittsburgh might want him. I think Pittsburgh might want him.
Matt Flynn.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Pittsburgh might really want Shador because they're not doing anything at quarterback. I mean, you got DK Metcalf, Pickens. You know, they're not doing anything at quarterback right now. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was working out with these guys. I don't know what that is all about. I think he should just hang out at this point.
Unless they're going to trade up for Pittsburgh, that's a huge hope. Like that he's going to drop to 21 because you got teams like, I mean, I wouldn't even put us out of the conversation at 12 if Ashton Jainty's not there.
For Shador?
For Shador. Saying, hey,
they just gave Dak a deal. Y'all in the same situation as Cleveland.
But I was the same person. I was the same person that told Steve that the Cowboys could fuck around trying to trade Dak, and he told me,
I don't think they would trade him. I don't think they would trade him. That's my point. I think if you get him at
trade that,
I think if you get him at 12, you're not paying that top 5, premium on him. So you bring him in, and if it's Jerry's going to find a way to monetize that and say, look, we got Deion's son and blah 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 blah. Like I don't put it past him to do something like that. I want it to happen? No. Are the odds high on it? Probably not. But I wouldn't put us out of the conversation if Jainty's not there.
Even though he's not top 5, you got to remember first round apron for a quarterback is high.
It is.
So that makes no financial sense. You would literally have to try to move a Dak somewhere. But
Dak has a no trade.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but I mean, you would have to get him on board with it. I mean, if you're taking Shador, what the fuck is going to make Dak want to stay there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't be starting. You're not planning to start that. I don't think. Right. This is your backup
Shador.
plan, or Shador rather.
Yeah,
but again, but also, just now that we think about it, we just picked up the quarterback from the Pats.
Right.
Mechie? No, not Mechie. Mechie's a wide receiver, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. But they're not trading Dak. Dak has a no trade clause, so
no, they're not.
Shador thing it's not happening.
I wouldn't put it past San Fran. They still haven't paid old boy.
No,
they haven't paid Purdy.
I said that too. I'm surprised that Aaron Rodgers and to San Fran hasn't been a discussion more than what it's been.
Nah, he's old.
I think with Purdy, I think the Purdy situation is different than what we've seen in other quarterbacks, just because typically when it's time for a quarterback to get paid, they usually have more leverage than what Purdy has. Purdy doesn't have leverage right now, only because the team could franchise him 2 years in a row, and the franchise would actually be pretty cheap. I mean, relatively cheap for what we're paying quarterbacks these days. I think if they franchise them this year, they'd have to pay him like $45 million. And they franchise them again next year, it's only going to be like 48 or something like that. So it's not like they have to be in a rush to pay him. They could franchise him 2 years in a row and pay less than what the top 10 guys in salary are getting paid, which is all like 52, 53 plus million. You know, they can come in 8 to 10 million under that. And so I think that's why San Fran is not in any rush.
I think his health is a big concern for them.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be concerned with that. Also, you're looking at, you know, he don't got the crew out there, right? He's missing some of his Infinity Stones. And so he didn't look as good as he looked at first go around. So now they got to be thinking, do we want to lock ourselves into this guy for 5 years with a $250 million deal, you know, 180 million guaranteed, whatever the number is, something like that, right? Where we could basically pay him 90 mil guaranteed with 2 franchise tags back to back, see what we got. And if we don't like it, we can move on.
Well, I think
the quarterback class this year is not deep. They could go for
a problem. They got a problem all around in San Fran because you got
Williams, I agree.
Williams wants another deal. You got McCaffrey. You don't know his status. You only got Ayuk, who you paid, and then he got hurt. Mm-hmm. They really don't have much to stand on out there. That defense is not what it was. They got some big problems out there.
Right. And I think that's why San Fran is playing hardball with him, because they're thinking like you, I think, EJ, where they're saying, we got all these problems that you just referenced. We might be getting ready to go into a rebuild. You know, even though it don't seem like that right now, but we may be getting ready to go into a rebuild. And do we want to go into a rebuild with a quarterback locked in at, you know, 180 million guaranteed over 5 years? Or do we want to give ourselves some flexibility to just tear the whole thing down?
But that's why you could draft a quarterback and say, you know, he's going to have a good 4 or 5 years on a rookie deal, and then we could use this money elsewhere and rebuild what we got for the quick hit right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't have a problem with them paying Purdy, like franchising them. You know, either way, I think they'd be fine. But you know, I think that's why. But the overall with like them not paying Purdy, I think that's the reason why. It's just that the team actually has more leverage than teams typically have when these quarterback contract negotiations come up, where they can just franchise him for a very cheap amount, you know, relatively speaking to what quarterbacks get paid, and still be okay. Yeah, like, and for him, a franchise for him, I mean, obviously he don't got the long-term security that a long-term contract would give him, but on his rookie deal of the 7th round pick last season was the most money he made over his career, which was like $800,000.
Yeah,
if they franchise him, this 45 million is fully guaranteed. So even if that's the only contract he ever gets, he's still Gucci. You know what I mean?
Right. And if you bet on yourself, 45 million, you know what I mean? Like, and then if that second time around, it goes up.
Right.
So, but they also, they just don't look that good. Like San Fran just doesn't, they've lost a lot of pieces. They've, you know, and so, they fell apart last year. They lost a lot of pieces. They lost Debo. They signed Ayuk, who then ended up getting hurt. Like, and it wasn't like a simple injury. This is a leg injury, you know, for wide receivers that could play a major part. So San Fran is in a tough spot. But if I'm them, I might go get him. I might go get Shador because it's cheaper to pay Shador, what, 8 million, 10 million, you know, at the 12th pick or 11th pick, than to pay 45 million next year to Purdy.
And you could say you're truly rebuilding and building around him.
And you can move Purdy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can move him to somebody who's interested in getting a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Shit, we've seen them do it. They did it with to us with Trey Lance.
You send him to Pittsburgh.
Send him to Pittsburgh.
Because I mean, the issue is when you talk about moving anybody, it's just that, you know, most teams have drafted their guy in you know, in the last, you know, couple years. You know, one place that we haven't really talked about where Shador could potentially land is Indy, because Anthony Richards don't seem to be it. And I don't know if y'all saw those comments that Bruce Arians made where he was like, Anthony Richards should stay in school another 2 years because he's not ready. And so
didn't they pick somebody up? Indy picked someone up because they said they wanted to put him in a I could
competition.
be wrong. Yeah, Indianapolis.
They got white dude is in my Daniel Jones.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But even still,
Yeah.
I'll put both of them dudes on the hot seat with Shador if I was them.
Because that really wouldn't cost them anything if they were to get Shador Indy, because Anthony Richards is on a rookie deal. Those are nothing, you know what I mean? And so yeah,
I think Indy believes they're looking at it like, Daniel Jones didn't have the right things around him and things fell apart in New York. So I think they feel like they can get something out of him and still have Anthony Richards. So I think they're gonna go wide receiver at that pick. But out of a lot of teams this year, this is going to be an interesting football season because there's a lot more teams than we really think about that really might be in flux this year. Like we're not having a lot of talent.
I
Mhm.
wouldn't I wouldn't put it past if I was Pittsburgh, I would probably be calling the Jets right now. Because
Trade
at
up.
7, yeah, at 7, the Jets have a talented team. Talented enough to where if they trade back to 21 and get more picks in there, they're not going to miss that 7th overall pick. Like the Jets were not a 7th pick team last year. They just happened to have an absolute trash quarterback, washed quarterback. They've replaced him now with a younger guy who can probably get it done. They still have defense, they still have wide receivers, and they still have a running back. So
Wide
essentially,
receivers, not so much. We got one, and we
you got
got
2. You guys got Mike Williams also.
no. We don't have Mike Williams no more. He went to Pittsburgh, and then he's
Oh, that's
somewhere
right.
else now.
That's right.
I mean,
That's
we
right.
got
But
Garrett Wilson, and then
that's a lot though, Steve.
we picked up Josh. We picked up Josh. Forget his last name from San Diego. We really only had and Lazard is re-signing on a restructured deal, saving us like $8 million. So, but I mean, I will say I think that if one of those teams that are like 10, maybe Atlanta, um, maybe one of those teams around there, I could see Pittsburgh trying. And if they have the second round picks and we swapped, I could see that happening if they really wanted Shador.
Yeah. I just don't see a
But
team talented enough that high to be willing to trade back. Like the Jets are super high. I think once you get to about 12, you got the Cowboys, maybe the 49ers if they feel good about themselves. Miami maybe that might trade back a little bit, but
that's what I was getting ready to say.
if
Because
Pittsburgh's
if
hell bent, maybe you go up to 7.
to come from 21 to try to go to 7 with the Jets, you got to come up with over 700 points. That's a lot. That's a lot to go from 21 to 7. But if
They
he
could
were to
throw us
fall out of
some futures. They could throw us some
no,
future
but I
joints.
mean, but my point is, it's just that like the number 7th pick, they got it valued at 2,014 points.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to try to come from 1457 up to 2014. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's a lot. And so if he were to fall out of that top 10, that point that Steve was making, San Fran, Dallas, Miami, to go from 21 to 11, 21 to 12, 21 to 13, I think that's a more feasible jump than 21 to 7.
And Miami likes to stockpile picks, so I wouldn't put it past them.
We're idiots. We're not doing nothing this year because our GM and coach are on the hot seat. Wink,
Just
wink.
this year.
But they don't move like they're on the hot seat. You would think they're on the hot seat. They're out here signing players, doing this. They don't. None of the moves that we make seem like we need to put a winner together so I can save my ass. So
They still haven't
I don't
even moved Tyreek.
exactly. I don't think they're on the hot seat. I think the owner's moving like that to make us fans think like, okay, he's finally going to do something. But the coach and GM not moving like they feel like they're on the hot seat.
Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
April 24th. It's gonna be interesting. I personally, as a Jets fan, I would like us to trade down. Trade
I want
down.
to trade down as well.
Yeah, trade down.
I would love a trade down. Unless one of the top O linemen fall.
Y'all at
Other
what
than
pick?
that, 13.
12, 13.
Yeah, I could still get one at 13 for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think if those quarterbacks fall, I think you get the Patriots taking an O lineman, the Giants taking an O lineman, the Jags. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
The
think we're gonna
Carolina
go.
Panthers could take an O lineman. We definitely would take an O lineman. We just lost Zach
Yeah.
Martin. Like, there's a lot. If
If
Ashton
we
doesn't come
stay,
to us,
I think we're gonna go after that Michigan corner. I think it's Will Johnson. I think is his name.
Yeah, Will. Yep.
Yeah. I think we're gonna go after him if we stay at 13.
y'all would go after the Johnson. Uh, what else? I think that's it, right? NFL drafts. EG, think about it in your mental Rolodex, because I know in an hour from now you're gonna be like, oh, you know what we forgot to talk about?
Hasn't been too much going on. I mean, Diddy still in jail. A lot of stuff
Yeah,
is coming
but
out.
a lot of them, a lot of them
accusers.
accusations are going away and being thrown out. But Cassie did say she's going to take the stand.
Testify. Wow.
She said she's going to take the stand,
But that
and
could be dangerous for her though. I wonder how much she really gonna say, because a lot of the conversation, the people close to them, aside of her abuse, they say she took part in a lot of foul shit.
oh yeah.
If
So
I was
that'd be a little
Diddy,
interesting.
I would have my lawyer put out a thing saying they arrested me because I support Donald Trump. And he's so fucking stupid that he probably would give him a pardon.
You might be right. I wouldn't even have him put that out. I would just have him call him. Like, yo, dog, we were at the same parties.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want your name called into this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you already got heat. Sure, you're the president, but you already got heat. Let's just make this one go away.
Yeah.
Let's just make this one go away. Because there's some tapes. And there might be some tapes they didn't find.
Yeah.
Dog. It might be in
same way they did Eric Adams. Like, just hey, holla at your boy. It's unfortunate, but like
Eric
if it was
Adams
me,
talking about he gonna run whatchamacallit. He gonna run independent now.
Yeah, he's not gonna win.
Bitch. He
People
gonna lose now. You gonna learn today. You gonna learn today. Rest in peace to the people in Dominican Republic, man. That club, the roof collapsed, and I think it was like 170 people died, maybe more than that. Tavia Dotel, who was a pitcher in the MLB, Pedro Martinez, who was also a pitcher in the MLB, said that his sister was there. A few other named people were in there. So
yeah, that's
that
crazy.
damn shame, man. That's why infrastructure is important, people.
Yeah, man.
That shit is crazy.
Big storm season coming for us, VP. They say.
I hadn't heard of this Dominican Republic thing, Steve, so I Googled it just to see what's up. And one of the top stories I see is New York City Mayor Eric Adams says flying to Dominican Republic after the nightclub roof collapse. I'm like,
that's what made it because there's a lot of Dominicans in New York, so he's hoping he can get their support. Yeah, their support. He goes out there. He just like Trump with the paper towels in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, but Puerto Rico is part of America. Like I get that.
I know. Oh no, look, New York got a lot of Dominicans. A lot of Dominicans.
A lot, bro.
A lot.
A lot.
And some are illegal. Yeah,
that makes sense.
A lot of Dominican voters in New York City.
That makes sense, man. But yeah, Eric Adams ain't gonna be the mayor next.
He going out there to slide off and something. That's all he does.
Absolutely.
He gonna spend a quick 300.
300.
Well, he's gonna get the high end. He's gonna get the high end joint. Yeah.
300.
Yeah, the high end.
VP, can you research the currency exchange from DR to US, please?
Sure.
The price has gone up though. Allegedly.
Price of the bricks gone up.
Yeah, it's gone up because people are going out there regularly. Businessmen go out there and they just sit there. So the high end joint, you could find, some low end joints for like $40, EJ. But yeah, if he's a politician, he's gonna go out there and get the high end joint, make sure it's quiet,
VP.
pay the little extra.
One
US
Dominican peso equals 0.0162 US dollars. So less than
And-
so a little bit more than a penny.
Yes. And could you do 300 US to Dominican pesos, please?
So I got 300 US dollars is equivalent to 18,780 Dominican pesos.
That's
Nigga,
right.
the price of vagina in DR is never going up. You hear me? Never. They are struggling. It is never going up. Ever.
So I want to disassociate myself with these exploitive talks that
Well,
EJ's,
right. Let's
sex
also
work is work. People should get paid for it.
Ain't anybody saying they not. I'm just saying that out there you can get a villa.
yeah, but think about it. You're also not thinking about what the cost is for stuff. So like a tank of gas in DR or a gallon of gas in DR is 297 of those pesos, which is about $4 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? So there's
Probably a
some
liter, not a gallon.
there's some whatever. There's some translation there. Anyway,
Yeah.
what did Mark Lamont Hill call sex work? He called it damn struggle hustle or some shit like that.
Mm.
Survival.
I know somebody who
Survival hustle.
I know somebody who was in DR probably 10 years ago, and for an overnight, it was like $40.
Overnight
and so
a hotel.
No, I
there.
mean,
I
like
was there.
they
I
already
was
had the
there.
hotel.
I was there less than 10 years ago, and I can tell you.
No, I can tell you based on some friends that frequent it that yes, you can do 40, 50, but on the high end, you're gonna pay a little extra.
I don't
And
know
if
about
I'm a
the 300.
politician, I'm gonna probably go to high end and get, make sure I don't come back with nothing. And
I don't know about no 300.
I'm gonna get me a sophisticated one if I was a politician.
I don't know
And if
about
I
no
pay for
300.
pussy,
And if you
I'm
dabbled,
not. I'm not paying for pussy. Sorry, dog.
What do you
Oh,
what
there
do you
goes
say?
FedEx.
What do you say in Four Brothers? You don't pay a hoe to fuck you. You pay her to leave.
Pretty
So,
much.
yeah.
All right,
I mean,
man.
300 might be pushing it, Steve, but
You ain't paying 300 for pussy. I mean, that's the kind of standard in the US right now, allegedly.
I mean that's probably but to Steve's point, he's a not high ranking, he's a high profile US government official, so he probably want to pay for some indiscretion
Some
or
prime. He wants
some discretion, not
he's
indiscretion.
he's gonna get the Dominican Wagyu.
You said it right. He's gonna pay for some indiscretion.
So it's probably more along those lines of like, hey, need
Yo, if you go to
is this
DR,
much for the play and then this much for you to shut the hell up.
yeah, if you go to DR and pay $40, you deserve whatever you come back with.
I'm trying to tell you, they got people that there are people out there that you get a villa, you get a maid, you get a chef, and then there's a guy that has him. He comes from this club, it's all discreet, and you have a range of them. You have like 10 of them to choose from.
Yeah,
I got a friend that was just out that way, and he said that at the hotel he stayed at, when they checked in, it was two couples, them and another couple, and him and his wife, they're married, but the other couple were not married, and they made them jump through hoops because they wanted to prove that it wasn't sex work, because they're trying to cut down in some of those, higher named hotels. So in a villa,
yeah,
probably different, right? You got full control, get you a nice Airbnb, but in the hotels, they don't want to turn into a sex work cavern.
right. But I mean, they know what time it is, man. Because like My
What
friend
time
who
is
went.
Tell me the time.
my friend who went was like, he went over there. He was at one of those like all inclusive joints, and went out to a club, met Shorty there, and brought her back. He was like, "It's this much for this much for that. It's gonna be 40 if you want me to stay overnight." And he was like, "All right, let's just do the overnight thing with it," So
Yeah, I've been there.
I'm glad. Glad I'm happily married. Yeah, I don't have those problems.
yeah.
Sometimes you just got to stick with the entree and get over the sides.
Mm-hmm.
That Fab said the entree ain't as good without the sides.
No, he said exactly what I said.
No, he
Stick with
didn't.
the entree and get over the sides.
He said the entree ain't as good without the sides. That's what Fab said.
It's okay. I'll prove you wrong after this. We don't need to do it on air.
Okay.
All right, VP. If you want to get us up out of here.
Hey everybody, we definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us with another fresh episode of the Cast Ready podcast. Sorry we missed you last week. Life happens. But like we always say, make that phone call, send that text message, reach out to your people, let them know you're thinking about them. You never know what people got going on in their head and what's happening under the surface. So reach out to folks and let them know you're thinking about them, let them know you care about them. You can find the podcast on all podcasting platforms by searching at Castworthy. You also can follow us on any of our social media by searching at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, you can leave us a like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend and tell a friend, help us grow the audience. We very much appreciate it. And with that being said, we will see you guys next week with another fresh episode of the Castworthy podcast. Until then, we out. We love you. Peace.